Hi everyone, welcome to my review of American Psycho, directed by Harron from 2000. So yes, we are back once again. This time around, ready to discuss American Psycho today on the channel. This is a film I've been looking forward to discussing for many years, and yeah, it's one I hadn't seen for many years actually, and yeah, look forward to discussing it today. First of all, there will be a spoiler warning for this discussion. If you haven't seen this film, I simply recommend seeing it first, and then come back to this video, and we can go from there, and we can talk about this film in the comments. So yeah, well, as I said, let's discuss my thoughts on this film, and what a film it is. You know, this one. Wow, American Psycho, you know, I've seen this quite a few times now over the years, and saw it as a kid for the first time, and you know, I loved the film instantly, but you know, I think with the final act and really the last 20 minutes, you know, of the film where things start, you know, really escalating, and you know, all this kind of fantastical stuff happens, you know, I thought I was really confused, and you know, I was thinking, this is really, you know, throwing me off, and yeah, that was the only thing. I was just very confused with the film, and the more and more I've seen this, you know, I've loved it more and more, and also kind of I've been less, you know, kind of drawn towards, you know, how to explain the film, and you know, what does this mean, and does it mean this, you know, throughout the entire film, and really, I think I'm at the point now where I don't really care if all the film really is just all in his mind, Patrick Bateman, and you know, if it's a fantasy or not, and you know, I think the ending and the last kind of 20 minutes of the film, you know, it's kind of more of a, it's so ambiguous that it doesn't really matter to me at all for my enjoyment of the film, and you know, I think I'm at the point yet where I don't really need the answers. It's just kind of cool to trace back and kind of try to work out things, but not necessarily need to know the answers. And that doesn't really happen with too many films when it's this ambiguous, you know, the kind of final act, and it does kind of affect the whole film. But with this one, you know, I think it's just whole, you know, part of the experience. You know, it's the whole kind of nature of the film. You know, it's a very fantastical film. We do have Patrick Bateman, of course, played by Christian Bale, and you know, this is just one of his very best roles for me. You know, I think in some ways it's his best performance, and you know, I think it's just absolutely stunning. This film, you know, the performances across the board. Willem Dafoe as well. You know, it's just great, and there's so many cast members here. But Christian Bale, you know, of course, as Patrick Bateman, this. You know, this guy who can't really connect to people. You know, he has these fantasies, and you know, it's just. You know, at one point we're led to believe that these fantasies, you know, kind of go out of control, and you know, he does actually start to kill people in the film, and yeah, it picks people off, and it's this kind of slasher film in a sense, but you know, this deep kind of character study, you know, in a very unique way, very psychological, and again, comedic in this film to the point where you know, it's at the times, you know, it's just a pure comedy horror, and you know, it's kind of blending the lines here, and we go from, you know, brutal moments, you know, it's just so shocking and stuff, but with straight away kind of going into the comedy, and it kind of, it's such a, you know, kind of bizarre character, this, you know, Patrick Bateman, you know, I think Christian Bale is masterful in this film, the writing, you know, across the board, and Harron directing this film, this is just perfect, the direction here. The way this is edited throughout, you know, is absolutely stunning, and I think the use of music, you know, in the film to portray, you know, the 80s especially, you know, got the film basically opening up with True Faith, in New Order, of course, the nightclub sequences there, you know, it's absolutely stunning, you know, the opening titles, credits and stuff coming in there, and wow, what a sequence, and just, you know, one of my favourite songs, and you know, it really opens up the film so perfectly, and we have just the dreamlike effect this has throughout as well, this film, the way it's edited, put together, and it kind of adds to the whole kind of, you know, what does this film really mean in the end, and you know, all kind of getting in the mind of Patrick Bateman as well, you know, his fantasies, so it's kind of blurring the lines here between fantasy reality, just in its, you know, its form really, the entire film here, and you know, I think just the way the film progresses, we have you know, those moments at first where we have, you know, many different themes explored, like consumerism and identity, and the way in which Patrick is just and everyone around him really trying to, you know, show off, and just trying to one up everyone around them, and you know, their clothing and all this kind of stuff, and it's one of the most funny films really in many ways, the way it's done. Just the whole kind of culture, you know, to this, you know, all the friends in the film, you know, you've got Josh Lucas in this one, you know, who's great, and we have as well Jared Leto, you know, playing Paul Allen, and you know, this is a very pivotal character in the film, of course. Patrick, you know, kind of kills him within the first 30 minutes of the film, and Patrick kind of makes a show of this kill, really, and we have Huey Lewis in the news playing Hip to Be Square, and you know, all the kind of build up here. Patrick, you know, kind of going. He'd gone out with Paul before this, and Paul was quite drunk and stuff, and then Patrick gets the axe, and he set up the whole apartment, as we know, you know, newspaper, and you know, all this stuff, and his equipment, and it's a really shocking moment. First time I saw this, you know, I didn't really expect this, you know, I thought wow, is he gonna kill this guy here? Just because of how upbeat Patrick is and the kind of music playing, and I thought surely this wouldn't happen, and yeah, it did. A shocking moment, and every time I see this, it's just wow, what a the acting from Christian Bale here, of course, and the shock on kind of Jared Leto's face there, when he turns round, of course, and he's really out of it, he's not reacting to too much, but then when he turns around, of course, and sees Patrick, swinging at him, the shock, on his face, it really is so affecting, and despite all that, brutal nature of it, and how scary Christian Bale is, once especially, he's struck the blow here, and just the reaction afterwards, and when he sits down, his breathing, despite all that, it's a hilarious sequence, and that really sums up the film in a nutshell. It's this kind of perfect blend between comedy and horror and thriller elements, and I think just moments where we've got these brutal killings, but it is done in a funny way. And it's such a unique film for that. I think Christian Bale, the way he kind of makes this character, even though he is this brutal psycho, and kind of all these things that are happening in the film, that we're seeing, all these killings, it's just so horrible. He is extremely charming, as a cinematic character, and he's just so funny, and we've got these different quirks, kind of character traits in the film, and things that he does, that are relatable as well, and it just the kind of the charm, the comedy to this character, and when he's kind of constantly talking about different albums, and their concepts, and different bands, and how the history of these bands, to different characters, and they're not really knowing what's going on, and they don't know anything about this kind of music and stuff, and he's just talking to them about something he's quite obsessed with. There's different moments like this that are really relatable, of course, and I think we've also got moments that are just so detached as well, and so bizarre for this character. And in that sense, he is just an enigma. He's someone who is very complex, one of the most complex kind of protagonists really in the film. And it's not necessarily about understanding everything he does. Obviously, it's just kind of witnessing this chaotic guy, and he's going on these rampages, these killings, and he's kind of luring people in. He doesn't really view people as humans. He's kind of they're more objects, and it's a fascinating film, this, and Patrick is just one of the most complex and just fascinating characters really in the film, and I think the way Christian Bale plays him is just perfect. As I say, definitely one of the best Christian Bale performances, but all the characters around him and the performances here, you've got Chloë Sevigny as well, playing his secretary, of course, Jean, and she is one of my favourite characters, really innocent character, and she kind of goes to Patrick's apartment at one point. That's one of the turning points of the film, really. He doesn't want to actually kill her, and he kind of warns her off and says, she better go. And Jean, of course, was not really knowing what was being implied there, but of course Patrick was kind of referring to him potentially killing her as well. So that was really, kind of a great moment, I find, and just the subtext there and the way that's kind of done. Very, very, powerful stuff there, and I just think the way that she doesn't get killed, that's I think that's a really great choice because there is a kind of more of a connection there. It kind of seems like Jean is the only one that Patrick kind of cares for in the film, actually, and I think that's really interesting because most of the characters, they're just kind of objects. They're just kind of people that are getting in his way, and they actually use and kind of try to show off too, and this whole facade that he puts on. But Jean is someone who potentially that moment kind of shows that he does actually care for her, and really would be the only character in the film. He's very cold to most other people in the film. One of my favourite aspects of the film is Willem Dafoe as Donald Kimball in the film, and he's the detective, and he shows up really once Paul Allen disappears, and he's to investigate, of course, and he goes to see Patrick, and this is when the film really becomes more tense, and we have kind of a repercussion of Patrick's actions here, and it's very tense and kind of just touch and go at times. You have various scenes throughout the film where Donald shows up again, and we've got these confrontations really, and seeing how Patrick kind of tries to worm his way through this, and he kind of lies to him at different points, even about knowing certain albums in the film. So really fascinating there how Patrick responds to this, and I think after seeing this again, I think after seeing the ending of the film, really, which we'll get to now, in the final act, this is when the film takes on potentially a new meaning, and all these scenes, even Willem Dafoe as a character, his character of Donald could be viewed as completely fantastical due to the fact that Paul Allen was he really killed in this film and or not, and was anyone killed in this film? Because the final act kind of shows such kind of out of body experiences Patrick's going through, and such fantasies that are so extreme, getting chased through the streets. That's when the film the first time I saw this I was thinking, well, this isn't really happening, is it? And it kind of for me it isn't really potentially the rest of the film as well, not just the final act, but it kind of takes another meaning, and I think most of this could really just be in Patrick's mind, and his diary that of course Jean opens up in the final moments as well. With a shock on her face, that is potentially who knows the most that the fantasies kind of came out of Patrick's mind, and just simply his kind of drawings there, and it could have just been the entire film, all the killings could have just been in his mind. But then again, there's a strong kind of piece of evidence in the film that this did happen, and especially Paul Allen was killed here. So it really is such a kind of unique film, and it's more ambiguous than most films that I've seen, and it doesn't actually hurt the film. It's just more of a sense of wonder, and wanting to know, but not necessarily needing to know. And I think that's a genius element of the film, and it doesn't hurt the film. And the first time I saw this, I thought potentially it did kind of take away from the experience. But after rewatching the film even once, I was thinking it doesn't really matter. As I say, it was just more of an experience, and this kind of surreal, out of body experience. This enigma of a character of Patrick Bateman, who has relatable character traits, but also is so extreme, and of course these if they are just fantasies, that they are just obviously so dark and just shocking, and at the same time, even though we've got this really shocking character who's very cold and treats people quite poorly in the film, he really is a fascinating one and a charming one, and one that I'm constantly kind of invested in, and just kind of in awe of, really. And Christian Bale, his performance in this, as I say, is stunning, and one of the very best performances from him. And I think Willem Dafoe adds such a presence in the film, and just the comedy. This is a hilarious film at times. Hey Paul, that moment, it's one of the funniest moments, in a shocking scene like this, and it is obviously bloody, this film, very violent. Yeah, it really is just a surreal, fantastical, experience, this one, and one of the most shocking films, at times, and it's just hilarious throughout. And I think loads of different themes, obviously, in this that have been explored, and just the 80s, the way it's captured, and just it has this kind of surreal, just unique kind of feeling, where it's not really any kind of time period or any kind of thing it's trying to say, and it is just more Patrick. He is the kind of the start and the end of this film. It's all around him and his mindset, and it's so unique and bizarre that we never really know where he's coming from, or what he's actually trying to do, and if anything that's happening is actually just in his mind, or if it's real. And it's just a masterpiece for me. And I think throughout the way this film is directed by Mary Harron, the way it's kind of edited, just the music, the performances, of course, Reese Witherspoon as well. She adds so much to the film. Really likable here, and just the relationships that Patrick has. They're so kind of superficial in this film, and that's just another kind of element of this, the superficial nature, and the identity that he's exploring, and the way in which people are just trying to impress each other, and not really truly connecting. Most of the characters in this film actually aren't really truly connecting, and Patrick is not necessarily the only one who's kind of experiencing that. It's just he is the protagonist, and it kind of just explores this culture, and just how fake really people can be, superficial. So yeah, I think it is just a masterpiece. All this stuff going on, as I say, we could talk about this, could break it down, but it's nice to just kind of leave it to the viewer, and it'd be great to discuss this film in the comments, and see, hear your interpretation of this. And it's just so ambiguous, and it's just kind of, it really is what you bring to the film, and what you kind of take away that is the true meaning of this. And it's not really, I don't think meant to be pinpointed in every single element. It's just more to kind of explore the film, and to look back on to see just a wonder, I guess. And that is the film really for me, and what a masterpiece. As for my rating of the film, it does get into my plus tiers. It really is a stunning film, and yes, 100% plus tier 3. So Absolutely, love this film. Stunning film, and just every time I see this, I get more from it, and also no less really about the film because it kind of takes on more of an ambiguous role every time I see this. But then it kind of heightens my enjoyment of the film. The more I kind of take a back seat in a sense, the more I'm kind of invested in the film. In that sense, the more that I'm not kind of trying to observe in certain ways the meaning, what this means, and all that kind of stuff, and to be objective about it, the more I get from the film. So it really is a stunning masterwork for me. And as I said, the performances, the direction, and just the visuals to this film, and the whole kind of blending of fantasy and reality in this one, the whole kind of surreal nature of this kind of trip, this journey, is just absolutely something else. I love this film so much, and that's my thoughts. What do you think on this film? It'd be great to hear, and let's discuss this from the comments. What you think the film means to you, and what's your experience with this? It'd be great to hear, and I absolutely love this one. Christian Bale is just masterful in this film, and it's among my favourite films, and this horror thriller comedy, of course, absolutely hilarious, and just so charming, of course, and just kind of upbeat and jolly, even though it's really shocking and brutal and very dark film. It's just more of this kind of fantastical experience. And as I say, it'd be great to hear your thoughts in the comments and to hear your experience with this film. As always, take care and thanks for watching.